Alright everyone, so at this point I've owned my Lamborghini for about 6 to 7 months. And I got a pretty good list of downsides that do come with the car, so for this video we're going to be going over the top 5. What's going on everyone? If this is your first time on the channel, what I do here is kind of show and tell you what exactly it is like owning a Lamborghini. I also teach you how to get one, so if you yourself want to own one and retire early, do yourself a favor, subscribe to the channel, and I put out content every single week. Alright, so number 1 is going to be the fact that you never blend in. This is definitely one of the big downsides. One thing nobody really tells you about owning a Lamborghini is that you completely lose the ability to blend in. Everywhere you go, people notice the car, whether that's at gas stations, at parking lots, on the highways, at restaurants. People constantly stare, people pull out their phones, they start recording you, people ask questions whenever you're stopped, and honestly, sometimes you just want to drive the car somewhere peacefully without becoming the center of attention. That becomes almost impossible with the Lambo, because whenever you're in a calm mood, the car demands attention everywhere you go. At first it feels really cool. I will say that my first couple months of owning the car, it was a really thrilling experience, but it did get quite old pretty quickly. It was really exciting, but eventually there are different moments where sometimes the vehicle can get mentally exhausting, especially if you're somebody who's an introvert just like me. So yes, you never blend into the crowd. As soon as you're on the highway, you can immediately start seeing the traffic pattern change on the highway, almost as though a ghost just popped onto the highway and then everyone's reacting to it. You start seeing cars that actually slow down. You start seeing cars way in the back start to speed up. You start seeing cars in front of you slow down as well. It's almost like you're like Zeus getting onto the highway. It's a really cool feeling. But yes, you never blend in. Anywhere you stop, you're going to get approached. There are some days where I do enjoy a good conversation, but then there are days where you just got to get things done. But that's one of the things that I will say is that if you are somebody who plans on using the car for errands, I promise you that you're going to have a really harsh time trying to get things done, because the car is just like you being in a movie, and it's not really something you could use to get things done. There's going to be a whole lot more distractions that come with it. So this is why I have my Honda Civic, and I use that to get things done and blend in with the crowd. Number 2 is going to be the fact that everyone wants to race you. So the other day I wanted to go for a quick spin. Within about a 30 to 40 minute span, I must have had 4 to 5 cars that all tried to race. Now here's one of the big things about being a supercar owner or a Lamborghini owner, is that you're gonna have to kind of train yourself to avoid this. One of the things that I personally did before in the past too, whenever I didn't have my Lamborghini, was whenever I would see a supercar on the road, I would try to match the speed, try to keep up with it. I wouldn't really try to race it, but I'd kind of want to see how well my car could try to keep up with that car too. So whenever another vehicle sees another Lamborghini, they're gonna probably do whatever it takes, do some crazy shit to keep up with you. But you yourself also have to realize that this is going to be something that happens every single time. So if you are somebody who tries to engage in all that, it's only going to be a matter of time before you get in trouble as well. But eventually this is something you get used to. It is something you really have to train and have some discipline with. If you are somebody who also likes to go crazy on the road, this is going to be a car you really have to watch out for, because again, you're going to have a lot of people on the road who are going to try to egg you on. They're going to rev beside you, they're going to try to race you, they're going to do some crazy stuff to keep up with you. It happens almost every single week, every single time I drive the car. So one of the skill sets you have to have with the car is just being disciplined and just putting on the blinders and just being about your own self. But it can be one of the most annoying parts of ownership. You're going to have some people who seriously want to race you, but then you're going to have some people who just want to keep up with you for fun. But people who actually try to go a little bit crazy are going to be ones you have to really watch out for. Their emotions are going to be high, so you yourself kind of have to stay level-headed in those types of situations. It doesn't matter what they drive. Mustangs, BMWs, Corvettes, motorcycles, and pickup trucks. People will constantly speed up next to you trying to get your attention. Some will start revving, some will fly past you aggressively, some start recording, hoping you react, and the reality is that most of the time you are literally just trying to cruise peacefully. The car almost creates chaos around you without you even trying. And that part could get old really fast for a lot of people. So again, that is the part where I kind of say that life just kind of feels like a movie whenever you're driving the car. There's not really such thing as a peaceful drive, because you'll probably get it for 10-15 minutes, but then you check your rearview mirror and then somebody's going to be on your butt. Number 3, parking anxiety is a real thing. Depending on where you live, depending on which city you're in, where you go, people think that the stressful part about owning a Lamborghini is the payment. That part is the easy part. Honestly, sometimes parking it is more stressful than anything. You start avoiding bad parking lots, you park super far from everyone, and even whenever you do, you're still going to get a car right beside you. Same thing applies to gas stations too. A thing you have to really watch out for is things like potholes, dips, curbs, steep hills, and tight entrances. Even leaving the car somewhere for a quick dinner can sit in the back of your mind. There was probably only a couple of times in the months that I've owned this car where I've actually used the car to go out for dinner. Probably only twice. And then each time, whenever I'd get back to my car from eating dinner, there would be a car parked right beside it, taking pictures, or people around the car, just kind of checking out the car. Again, nothing wrong with that, but again, you may have to watch out for some people who actually try to sit on your car or just kind of do some weird things like that. Not that I've kind of bumped into it. Everyone so far that have all checked out the car are extremely respectful people, so I'm grateful for that. But because one careless person opening their door a little bit too hard can ruin your night instantly. The car is so low and expensive that normal daily situations suddenly require way more attention. And over time, that mental pressure does add up. Number 4, people treat you differently. Some people suddenly respect you more. Some people become extremely curious. Some people assume you're rich. Some people come out the woodworks from you not having talked to them for 10 years, and then all of a sudden they want to do business with you. Some assume you're showing off. Some become inspired. This is probably my number 1 that I do love about the car. I love the fact that the car can inspire people. And on the other downside, some people quietly become jealous. You start realizing the car changes the way that people perceive you. And before they even know your personality, that's one of the strangest parts of owning the car, owning the Lambo. Sometimes it opens doors socially, sometimes it creates distance. You learn really quickly that exotic cars trigger emotions in people, sometimes good and sometimes bad. In my experience, I have had all good positive emotions. It does trigger a lot of emotions in people, so you do have to be understanding of that. Just because I'm a Lambo owner and I get to see the car every single weekend, get to drive it, that is not the case for the rest of the world. Some Lambo owners don't really see that. Some get a little bit too acquainted with the car, thinking that it is just the car, but in the eyes of everyone else that you inspire, that is not the case. I remember whenever I never had the car, whenever I never had my Lambo, I would only see the vehicle on the road or in public probably once or twice every single year. So any interaction that I get with anybody, I always see it from that point of view. So when you do that, in my opinion, you're just generally being a good human being and being respectful about the whole situation and where people come from. And then lastly, number 5 is you eventually normalize the dream. So after about 6 months, the Lambo did just start feeling like a car, I should say. I've kind of had the same feeling whenever I had my last G82 M4. It was a sick car, but after about 4 or 5 months, it did just become a bit of a normal car. This is probably the deepest downside, because at first, owning the Lamborghini, it feels completely unreal. Whenever I first had the car for the first couple of weeks, it was almost like I couldn't sleep. It felt like my brain was just having crazy euphoria, and then things just kind of felt like a dream. But then after that couple of weeks kind of fades off, you do start to feel that this is just going to be a bit of a normal car, even though it's not. You start seeing the car get dirty, and then you think to yourself, all right, I'm gonna go get a car wash today, things like that. But at first, owning the Lamborghini feels unreal, but eventually it does become normal. And that is a strange feeling, because this was once a dream since I was a kid that I've obsessed for over years. You realize human beings adapt to almost every single thing. And I've said it in my past videos before, but anytime you get a car, and then even my next few cars that I get after this car is going to be the same feeling. It's going to feel euphoric for the first couple months, and then then after that, emotions and brain chemicals start to normalize after that. But that doesn't mean that the car gets boring. So I do still love the fact that I have a great contrast in my life in terms of owning cars. So the Lamborghini is here, but again, as mentioned, I have my Civic that I drive 6 days a week. And the beauty of having that type of contrast is that every single time I do turn on the Lamborghini every single week and go for those quote unquote peaceful, relaxing drives, it does feel unreal every single time I get behind the wheel. But yes, after a couple months, the emotions of it do tend to settle down, and that's when you realize that the real happiness cannot come from the car itself. So this was a big realization that I've came across, and it did hit me 2 months after the fact, because once you get the car, things normalize, and then you think to yourself, what's next? And then you start to realize that, hey, I just can't keep on living like this, where you get a car and then you start to move the goalpost next. Because let's just say, for example, I have my Lambo, but then next I get the Revuelto, and then next I get the Bugatti, and then you think to yourself, all right, what's next? Once you kind of see yourself hitting that tip of the mountain, and then if you just kind of built your life on moving the goalpost around, then reality is going to hit you pretty hard. So there has to be some other thing that brings you fulfillment aside from the car. To me, that's helping other people, hence why I'm using this car as a marketing piece to start this whole channel that I plan on doing for the next 30 years of my life. But true happiness does have to come from the life you built around the car, not the car.